Hello people. Well, I'm back here today after going to the racetrack yesterday, and we'll do a follow-up, I guess a part 2 on converter swap to see the results of that. The results were, well, the torque converter is a little too tight, so it slowed the car down. But the one other thing got from it is this converter seemed to flash the same every run, 4,500. So it's flashing too low, but it at least was consistent in where it was flashing at every run. I'm going to go through this pretty quick. I had 7 runs yesterday, ended up finishing 4th place. Got a little gas money and stuff, so that was pretty nice. But I'm only going to focus really on about 3 runs. There were 3 runs that were within a hundredth and a half of each other, so I'm not even messing with them. They were right in a row. There was a couple Anomaly runs. So just going to run through about 3 of them, and we'll show you the results from it one by one, and I'll talk a little bit about it. We'll talk a little bit about it at the end, and go from there. Okay, so that first time trial run, I stalled it to 1500 just like my old converter used to. Used to like it. It flashed 4500, ran 715. Yeah. With a 158 60 foot. So it took off good. Not bad. That's pretty. It's off on the 60 foot for sure, but it's only flashing the 4500. So that's kind of causing that. All right, and we'll go to run number 2. And on that run, we had the only thing I did different, I wanted to see if stalling this converter up more would make a difference with this converter, because it never did with it. Well, it did, but like if I stalled the old converter up more than 1500, the more I went up, the slower it made the car. The worse the 60 foot and the worse the ET was. But I wanted to see if this converter would do any different. At first glance, just looking at this, you'll see it slowed down to 718. That slowed down. It flashed the same, 4500. I stalled it up a little more on the line to 2100. But anyway, so that run there, so you would think right there, that slowed it down. But also here now in these next runs, the it's getting warmer during the day. This was in the, about noon and 3 o'clock, so it was getting warmer. Air was getting a little worse, so that's a factor too. All right, then I'm going to show you run number 3. All right, now run number 3, I went back to 1500 on the stall. It flashed 45 again, so that's good. All 3 of these 4500 consistent, but the 60 foot was down even more than that one, and the time was even slower than that one, stalling it up. So to me, the stalling it up really with this one didn't make any difference. Now, like I said, you do have the air difference, but it's iffy on that. I don't know how much different it was, truthfully. So I'm going to say it really made no difference with that. But again, like I said, it's being consistent so far at 4500 on the flash. So, I mean, we're doing pretty good there. All right, so these next runs here, the 3rd and 4th runs these 3 runs were within like a hundredth and a half of each other. So, I'm not going to delve into those. The one big anomaly here is this one, run number 5. Okay, as you can see, I've stalled it to the same. It flashed the same again, just like the rest, but it was way off. Up here, this 160 foot time right here was a 719. This one was a 722. So there was something weird happened there, and as far as I can tell, no matter in the car by, taking off and the flash of the converter and shifting, everything looks the same. So I don't know. I was thinking, well, maybe I spun a little bit, which is possible, but up here, this one was, this was a quicker time on the same, kind of pretty close to the same 60 foot. So there was something else different there. But anyway, so that's the one Anomaly that was real slow. Okay. Now we'll show you the other Anomaly. Okay, this one here, the last run. I lost on this run. 5th round. I stalled it to 1500. It flashed 4500 again. Really good. Or consistent. All right, so 157 60 foot. 157 8. ET 714 at 9660. So within about an hour and a half time from this run here to this run, it picked up, what is that, 7/800ths. This run I'm not going to even consider messing with because I spun, I think, off the line here a little bit, and I let off at the end because the other guy had a terrible reaction time and I didn't want to break out, so I slowed way the heck down on that one. So I can't use that as any kind of comparison. But this one here, that's up close to what it ran in this one here is even quicker than that even. So that the last run was the best run of the day. So do I contribute that to weather? The air was cooling off and getting better. This was about 7 o'clock in the evening. 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. So, but anyway, what I found out from this whole thing is this converter flashed consistently every run. So, pretty happy about that. To me, that means that there is something going wrong with my old converter. But anyway, so there's the daily runs and the update there on, I guess, part 2 of converter swap update dealio. All right, so what I've done today, I called a converter shop and I got a new converter coming for the car. I did that for a couple reasons. One, I'd like to have an extra converter around if I need it. I'm still going to have to get mine rebuilt here at some point till I have an extra one in case something happens. But the other thing I'm going to do that, well, I didn't talk about on that when I was talking about the runs. The one other thing I did notice is it seems like I'm getting a little flare up on my first to second shift that I hadn't paid attention to before. I was watching so close on that flash that I wasn't paying attention to that shifting points. I'm shifting at the same point, but it seems like when I shift into second, I'm getting a little flare up. So what I'm going to do it's probably going to be 3 weeks before I get this new converter. When I pull the transmission out to put that converter in, we're gonna take the transmission apart. Me and my buddy that helped me rebuild it 2-3 years ago, whatever it was, and we're gonna just look through it, take it apart, and see if there's any burnt clutches, bands, anything in it that looks out of the ordinary. Check the clearances and see if there's anything with that's wrong. Obviously that. Put new seals, gaskets, whatever on it and go. But that's the only other thing I noticed with it. So that's pretty much the update. I had a really good day yesterday. Hung out with some great people down there at Newport, Arkansas, Newport Raceway. I only go down there about once a year. It's a long drive. It's about 3.5 hours for me, but I go down once a year. Like to try and get down there once a year, hang out with people. Really nice people there. Great place. And I hung out with a friend. Some of you may know was just Mopar Joe and his brother Drew. Great people. But it was a really good time, and that's what I had a great time, and that was what mattered most. Ended up with a little money coming home, so covered my gas pretty much going down there. So it was a good day. And like I said, with the car, I did find out that it does seem to me like by my little garage dummy reasoning that the converter is the issue, because this one flashed the same RPM every run. It's just flashing at a lower RPM, so it's hard to get the car going as heavy as this thing is. You can tell it's working hard trying to get the car taken off. So, but I mean, at least that part of it is consistent. So anyway, we'll see. I don't know if I'll be going this next weekend or the weekend after back to Sykeston, my normal home track there. And we'll see what it does there. Different track conditions and all that. So, all right. Well, I just wanted to do this update on that, a kind of a part 2, I guess, if you will, on this converter swap deal and get the results. My little, unscientific, unprofessional, experimental thing. I'm a jigger. Anyway, all right. So, I guess until next time, have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.